All right. Giving all praises to the Most High God and His Son Yeshua. We back at it. I know I've been going for a minute, but there's a lot of talk about this new covenant. Um, if we're in the new covenant, are we still in the old covenant? Blase, blase, right? So I think, and I watched a couple videos, watched a couple breakdowns, and I think the main thing people are missing is the type of covenant the new covenant is, right? So we really can't determine if we're in the new covenant or in the old covenant without first understanding what type of covenant the new covenant is, right? So what we're going to do, just going to go through it methodically, um, and get to the new covenant, kind of break that down. Um, I would say that it's pretty deep, and it's pretty um, say kind of revelatory, right? Because it definitely opens up the Bible even more. It opens up the scriptures even more, and it makes more sense once we realize what type of covenant the new covenant is. Then all the idioms, right? All the uh, uh, figures of speech, the metaphors, the similes, right? All the comparisons, right? Will make sense and we'll understand why Christ said certain things, right? Why certain things are in Revelations that we should be expecting. I don't want to give it away, but just bear with me. We're gonna run down through there with the covenant. Um, and it's gonna be I'm just gonna do a lot of short videos. Don't want to make a 3 hour video and trying to squeeze everything in. We're just gonna break it down and we're gonna go from there. You will start with the covenant that the Most High made, right? So we'll start there, but first, again, we have to understand what type of covenant the new covenant is, right? The Most High made covenants all throughout Scripture, right? It's not just two covenants that He made, right? They all kind of intertwine together, right? And Christ is the culmination of all that. But he made different types of covenants for different reasons, right? So let's first let me share my screen. All right. So let's first look at the word covenant, right? So the biblical usage is covenant, alliance, pledge between men, treaty, alliance, league, constitution, ordinance, agreement, pledge, alliance, friendship, alliance of marriage between God and man, alliance of friendship, covenant, divine ordinance of signs or pledges. Phrases: covenant making, covenant keeping, covenant violation. Now we go to the Strong's definition. It's from H162, or I'm sorry, H1262, in the sense of cutting, like H1254, a compact because made by passing between pieces of flesh, right? So when we look at that, it's like, okay, we understand a covenant. We think of it, of course, like an agreement, right? A contract, a deal, right? Treaty. But the Strong's definition is a compact because made by passing between pieces of flesh. Now, this is very key, right? So let's go to H1262, bara, and it says to eat, to consume. So covenant derives from a word, from an action word that means to eat, right? So let's go back. Now, if you go down here to the Hebrew Chaldee lexicon, right? Let's go down. Let me just read it. A covenant, so called from the idea of cutting, since it was the custom in making solemn covenants to pass between the divided parts of victims, right? But the ideas suggested by Lee deserves attention. Is strictly and this is the covenant. Berith. That Berith is strictly nothing more than an eating together banquet from Bara. So that's Bara, right? You see that right there, Bara. Now, number two, since among Orientals to eat together is almost the same as to make a covenant of friendship, the Hebrews too were accustomed to eating together when entering into a covenant, right? And in this way, we obtain an explanation of covenant and eating of salt. So we see that the word covenant derives from eating, and it's built upon the premise of eating a meal together, right? So this is very key in how a covenant works, um, how a covenant is established, how it's enacted, right? Um, so now let's go to the instance of Noah's covenant. So we see Noah's covenant in Genesis 6:18. So let's jump down there. But with thee but with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Now, what's the point of the covenant? Let's go up. Genesis 6:13. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, room shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And this is the fashion which thou shalt make it of. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, the breadth of it 50 cubits, and the height of it 30 cubits. A window shalt thou make to the ark, and in a cubit shalt thou finish it above, and the door of the ark shall be set in the side thereof, with lower, second, and third stories shalt thou make it. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven, and everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee will I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons, and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. So we see that Noah's covenant is a covenant of protection, right? Because the covenant with Noah was a covenant of protection. Verse 17 is what the Most High planned on doing, right? Straight destroying the earth, flooding it, right? Verse 18 is the Most High making a covenant with Noah to save him and his house from what he planned on doing, right? So this is what he planned on doing. This is his plan for Noah, right? To protect him, right? The Most High made the covenant in chapter 6, right? This is Genesis 6. He made the covenant in 6, right? The promises, right, to come into the ark, right, didn't happen until verse 7 or chapter 7, right? And the reason I'm wording it like that is because at this moment in Genesis 6, Noah is in the covenant with the Most High, right? We can call it the covenant of protection, right? So once the Most High tells Noah what his plan is, right, and what he plans to do with Noah, and verse 18 seals it. But with thee will I establish my covenant. At that moment, Noah is now in the covenant of protection, right? It doesn't matter that there's a 120-year gap between when the covenant is established with Noah and when the items or the promises of the covenant start happening, right? That's very key because I've seen a lot of talk about we're not in the new covenant because XYZ hasn't happened. And that's really low level thinking, because nowhere in scripture does that even make sense. Does that even apply like that when it comes to the covenant, right? He's in Noah at this moment in chapter 6. He's in covenant with the Most High, right? He's in the quote unquote covenant of protection. He's in it, right? Um, I mean, that's clear as day, right? Now, according to Zondervan Bible Dictionary, as well as other scholars, Noah was given the instructions to build the ark, right, in Genesis 6:14 through 16. Obviously, at that same time, he came into covenant with the Most High. And Noah was about 480 years old. The flood didn't happen until approximately 120 years later. Now, that 120-year gap doesn't negate the fact that Noah was actively in the covenant the Most High made with him. The covenant didn't, quote unquote, start when the flood descended off the face of the earth and everything had been fulfilled that the Most High told Noah would happen and that he would do. Right? This is very key when understanding the new covenant. Right? Because now we see in verse 22, he said, "Thus did Noah according to all that God commanded him, so did he." Again, Noah was actively participating in the covenant. He's in the covenant of protection. Once the Most High established his covenant, you're in it, right? All the promises and all the things that must take place don't necessarily have to happen in totality for now you to be in that covenant, right? And we'll see that with almost every covenant that the Most High made, stuff had to happen over time for it to be established. It wasn't just a microwave covenant and instantly you're in the covenant and everything's fulfilled and there's no waiting period, right? Yeah, you're instantly in the covenant, but you don't have to, it's not instantly everything that the Most High said is fulfilled, right? So now we see, let's go to Genesis 9. Let's see. Let's go to Genesis 9. But first, let's go to Genesis 8, right? So we'll see Genesis 8 and 20. And Noah built an altar unto the Lord and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor. And the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth, neither will I again smite any more everything living as I have done. Whether earth remain in seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. So when Noah came off the ark, he made a sacrifice, right? Now, the next thing that happens after that sacrifice is what? Genesis 9:11. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. So the first covenant that the Most High made with Noah was one of protection, right? He told him to build an ark, right? He was gonna end all flesh. He was gonna flood the whole earth, and Noah was to build the ark, right? That was the covenant. I'm going to do this. I need you to do this, and I'm going to establish my covenant with you. And this is why I'm telling you to do this, because this is why I'm telling you to build the ark, because I'm establishing my covenant with you to protect you, right? Now, when we go to Genesis 9, he made another covenant of protection with him, not only with him, but with all earth, with all living creatures, with every living creature, right? And he said, I will, he said, and I, behold, I establish my covenant with you and with your seed after you, and with every living creature that is with you, of the fowl, of the cattle, and of every beast of the earth, with you, from all that go out of the ark to every beast of the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of the flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. Right? So this is the second covenant that the Most High has made with Noah. Right? In this covenant, he's establishing his covenant that he would never do this again. Right? He would never cut off all flesh anymore by water. Right? This is the covenant. Again, 9:11, just 9:11. And I will establish my covenant with you. Okay, what is the covenant? Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood, neither shall there any more be a flood to destroy the earth. Bam. That's the covenant. That's the second covenant protection that the Most High has given not only Noah, not only everyone and every living being that was on the ark, but thereafter as well. But he said perpetual generations, right? And God said, "This is a token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations." Right? Now we see the token, the sign of the covenant, right? Genesis 9:13. I do set my bow in the cloud, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. Right? So the token or the sign is the rainbow. So let's go to token, sign, signal, distinguishing mark, banner, remembrance, miraculous sign, omen, warning. Right? A signal, literally or figuratively, as a flag, beacon, monument, omen, prodigy, evidence, etc. Right? So it's a sign. Right? So the token is the sign. The rainbow is the sign of the covenant, of the token, of the promise. Right? Now, that is the covenant of Noah, right? And I call it the covenant of protection because it was all about protecting Noah from the flood initially in Genesis 6. You know, he made a covenant with him. Hey, build this ark. I'm about to flood the earth. This is my covenant with you to save you, right? Then in Genesis 9, he makes another covenant with not only Noah, but everything that was in the ark to not flood in the whole earth, to not flood it again, right? Uh, Noah made a sacrifice in Genesis 8, right? Noah actively participated in the covenant. The covenant didn't, Noah wasn't in the covenant after the flood rescinded and after he got off the ark, right? And after he started living his life, right? Because that's not how the covenant works. That's not how a covenant works. Once you shake on it, once you sign it, once you eat that meal, once you agree upon the covenant, you're in that agreement. You're in that covenant. You're in that deal, right? So that was Noah's covenant, the covenant of protection. Noah had to actively participate in it. He had to physically demonstrate his faith, right? And the way he physically demonstrated his faith in the Most High was to physically build an ark, right? To show that he literally believed that the Most High was going to flood the earth, in so much that he built a big old boat, right? Noah couldn't just sit back and say, "Oh, I have faith." He said he said he's going to protect me, so I have faith. I don't have to do nothing. No, there's a expectation of obedience to instructions, to commandments, right? There was a sacrifice and there was a token, right? So again, that was just the first part. That's Noah uh and kind of his covenant of protection. And the key aspects of that was he had to actively participate, right? Obviously, by building the ark. There was a token, there was a sign of the covenant, and there was a sacrifice, right? So next up will be the Abrahamic covenant, and then we're going to go into that and kind of outline that, kind of how we did the Noah's covenant. And I would say the Abrahamic covenant is one of promise, right? I mean, that's pretty standard. Um, and then we'll go into the details of that. And then from there, we'll go to the Mosaic covenant or the Sinaitic covenant. And then from there, we'll go into the new covenant. All right, y'all be blessed.